To say the least, this is a modern spinning wheel. Traditionally, we'll think of a big wheel, which is used for wool, and they're fragile because they're also old. Or we'll think of a flax wheel that is more composite, that you think of, oh, Sleeping Beauty pricked her finger. Okay. In turn, what is special about this wheel, one, the wheel itself is colored. That is from a small person's wheelchair, that the company was looking for alternatives on what they could do because life is not the same as it used to be. Also, the expensive part of a spinning wheel is the wheel because they warp. So here you've got some composite that's made this, and what's fun is it's colorful, and as I'm a person into color, what can I say? So, to say the least, this sheep was not turquoise and periwinkle. This was dyed fibers, and I've put it into little bundles, and they're called bird's nest because they kind of look like a bird's nest. And the reason for this is so that I've gone ahead and split up fibers so that they are more of what's called pencil roving. So you can imagine that's about the size of the thickness of a yellow pencil. And so Stormy's going to come help. Okay, Storm, scoot over, kid. Now, when I was a little kid, and this is where rhythm comes in, my grandmother had a treadle sewing machine. And the reward for setting the table was I once set the table correctly, then I got to go treadle on her sewing machine. And I would sit there just, I just thought that was the neatest thing going. Well, in turn, as a young person who also rode a bicycle, I found not everybody could treadle a sewing machine because they didn't understand the movement. And there's a rhythm to it, and you would hear it. And so you could keep the rhythm going. If you speed it up, to say the least, you could feel it in your legs, but you wanted to keep it as steady as possible. My old spinning wheels only have where one foot is on a triangular piece, and I am pumping it. This one is more like bicycle in the fact that one foot is up and one foot is down, and where the rhythm comes in is the fact that if I am quiet, you may be able to hear the wheel. So in turn, like weaving, it's relaxing. You're also using muscles. You used your arms there, and your feet, but this is a totally different type of use. And so you are overlapping bits and pieces of wool. And if we had a microscope here, we could look at the wool under the microscope and it would look like Velcro. And that's where I just put two pieces together, why it hung on to each other. Now, this has hooks on it, and if you were with me and I was demonstrating and I watched someone reach out to touch because it looks like magic happening, I would stick my hand out. Now, the individual reaching to touch would not get hurt. I would be the person who would get hurt because the hooks whipping around are sharp. And so there's 2, 4, 6, there's a dozen hooks that would bite me. But in turn, it's more important to not touch. And in this case of me stopping, that breaks the rhythm of the wheel. So continuing on, I have fiber, I overlap it. This is where the touch is of my feet. I backed it up a little bit, started again. And so the rhythm, once again, is steady. If I were listening to music, I would have to be careful, just like on weaving. If it goes too fast, I have a tendency to do my spinning to the sound. There are spinning songs that spinners used to sing to keep time, to make sure that the size of the fibers they were spinning, and I just overspun that and it just crinkled back on itself. So it will spin all the way back to here. Back it up, draw it in. Now, if I was just starting with learning how to spin on a spinning wheel, you would probably hear me counting, because many spinners, when they first start to learn a rhythm, they will count. They will pump, 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 because this is a double action in a sense. They would probably pump 6 times. And what's happening with that, it's so that whomever is teaching them how to spin gets them unconsciously into learning a rhythm to how much spin goes into their fiber. So, okay, there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is where their hands work. 1, 2, 3. For me, I'm a 3. When you can pull your fiber back like this, it's called a long draw. So just like other foreign languages, there is the rhythm of your feet, there is the movement of your hands, there are terminology, and all of that goes together to create a yarn. And it's not finished once it comes off the spinning wheel. It has to be set in warm water, it has to be hung up. And so all of these things, there is a rhythm and a process that is done all the way. So if I had this on what's called a nitty knotty, so that the yarn would be creating a skein, I would tie it in several spots, slide it off the nitty knotty, I would dip it, is it going to balance? No. In warm water so that it is saturated, take it out of the warm water, and I literally would wring it a little bit and then slap it. Because of the twist, and this is animal fiber, where it is over twisted, it will travel to where it is under twisted. And once again, there is a rhythm to it, and you can literally watch it shift. And that's magic. So that's the magic, girl.